Welcome, it's Indisputable. I'm your host, Sharon Reed. Good to be with you. We have a lot on the agenda today. Let me first give a big shout out to the John Lewis Invictus Academy in Atlanta, Georgia. I was their keynote speaker this morning. To the principal, Mr. Garner, to Ms. Lauren, we helped coordinate, to all of the mentors who came, and to the family of the late Congressman John Lewis, especially to the students. Very thankful for the opportunity to engage, to eat breakfast, and then to hopefully perhaps inspire. All right, looking forward to our mentor-mentee relationship moving forward. All right, we have none other than news anchor Sharon Reed. She will be our contributor today, breaking down news of the day. Also, HQ commentator, contributor, Rebel HQ superstar. Top story. All right, this what had happened was Donald Trump says, you know what? Yes, I did take classified envelopes, but not classified documents. That must be the mistake here. I kid you not. Let's go to the first graphic of his meltdown. Page 1 says, the fake news media and crooked Democrats, that's been proven, keep saying, I had a large number of documents in order to make the Biden classified documents look less significant. When I was in the Oval Office or elsewhere and papers were distributed to groups of people and me, they would often be in a striped paper folder with classified or confidential or another word on them. When the session was over, they would collect the papers, but not the folders. And I saved hundreds of them. Now it continues, all right? So Donald Trump is saying that yes, I stole classified folders, but I did not steal those classified documents. They must have put that in there later. All right, President Donald Trump floated a new and seemingly absurd defense for the hundreds of classified documents retrieved from his Mar-a-Lago residence a year and a half after leaving the White House. According to the former president, he did not actually keep the many documents reported to have been retrieved, but he just kept the empty folders that the documents came in because they were a cool keepsake. Yes, that's really what the man said on Truth Social Wednesday morning. Now, if you are still the defense attorney for Donald Trump, this is a remarkable day for you. It's called billable hours. Understand this, Donald Trump has increased your workload by roughly maybe 40 to 50,000 hours. Good for you all. Somebody got to win here. All right, let's put up the second part of his post. It says, page 2. Remember, these were just ordinary, inexpensive folders with various words printed on them, but they were a cool keepsake. Perhaps the Gestapo took some of these empty folders when they raided Mar-a-Lago and counted them as a document, which they are not. It's also possible that the Trump-hating Marxist thugs in charge will plant documents while they're in possession of the material. As president and based on the Presidential Record Act and Sox case, I did nothing wrong. Joe did. Well, no, actually, if we utilize what you just recommended here, Mr. Former President, it's Joe Biden who has done nothing wrong because intent is required. And if it was a mistake, then he's off the hook according to your theory. But also, here's the thing, Mr. Former President, you continue to come up with various defenses to one particular allegation. The allegation is you stole classified information. Initially, you released an official statement about what really happened. And this came in 2022. Here it is, Fox News.
This is from President Trump's office. It just came in a few minutes ago. As we can all relate to, Everyone ends up having to bring home their work from time to time. American presidents are no different. President Trump, in order to prepare the work the next day, often took documents, including classified documents, to the residence. He had a standing order. There's the word I've been looking for. That documents removed from the Oval Office and taken to the residence were deemed to be declassified the moment he removed them. The power to classify and declassify documents rests solely with the President of the United States. The idea that some paper-pushing bureaucrat with classification authority delegated by the president needs to approve the declassification is absurd.
The man was president for 4 years and still does not know how it worked. No, the president is not the only entity that can classify and declassify. As a matter of fact, once again, Donald Trump is not accused of stealing simply classified information, but SAP, classified information, which stands for Special Access Programs. You have two tracks. You have acknowledged and unacknowledged special access programs. Well, those programs are so highly classified that even the CIA director or the DNI director cannot get access to these programs unless there's a bureaucratic process and proven need to know basis. So let's count the ways here. Donald Trump first said, well, I already had those top secret documents at the house because I just took it home to work on classified documents. Do you really think he worked on classified documents? The man would not even read a classified briefing in the morning time. He had Mike Pence read his briefings. And then, according to members of the executive national intelligence team, they had to put pictures inside of the briefing because he refused to read. He just wanted pictures and he wanted a quote. That's it. That's all he wanted. Mike Pence did the actual reading, according to everybody that came out of the White House. But that's one excuse. The documents were already there. The second, based on Trump's own words, is that there was a standing order to declassify anything that he just decided to steal. Okay, well, somebody does have to recognize the standing order. Somebody does have to corroborate that order, and nobody did. But if that is your affirmative defense, why would now the defense be that actually they took envelopes that had words on them, and some of those words may have been classified, or words like confidential, but they had words on them, and maybe they put the classified documents inside of the envelopes after they took the envelopes. There it is. That's the one. You see, Mr. Former President, here's what you're doing. You are offering public commentary about your guilt or innocence. Guess what? That's going to make it into a court of law, all right? Because it goes to your credibility and also to what's germane to the case. Did you knowingly steal these classified documents? Your multiple stories of cover up is what we call evidence of a guilty conscience. Man, your attorneys are gonna get paid. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
Well, my first thought, well, they keep changing because when you talked about how they had to set up the briefings with pictures, my daughter loves these graphic novels, these graphic books, and I get them for her. But the teacher, we had to remind her that there's need to be more words, Dr. Richie, on the page, just for her education. She can look at the pictures too, but you can't just go around only looking at pictures. The other thing is, you're right. The Fox News explanation to me was almost as goofy as the empty envelopes keepsake explanation. Okay, because we know you weren't doing any work at home. Stop it. Okay, you just go on and stop it here. But I just wonder when the lie is up. I remember in middle school, Dr. Richie, I penciled in, I made a D a B, and my mother caught it right away, of course. My mother's a teacher. And she said, do you want to come clean? This went on for about a week till she could get up to the school. And I said, go ahead, go to the school. Okay, I don't remember what happened when I got home, and that tells you everything you need to know.
There it is, all right. Yep, I know how that is. Okay, well, this happened. A guy just insisted that this particular FedEx worker is the N-word, all right? Here it is.
Speech, you stupid monkey.
Come on, hey, say it again. Say it again, say it again, say it again.
Go ahead, get out, you fucking dumb.
I'm what?
Are you a dumb? White Park, you want me to go around with a white man? You run over my dog, I will show you.
Ain't nobody running over nothing.
Black Lives Matter.
Hey, welcome to Facebook.
You think I give a
Hey, what's up though?
Welcome to Indisputable. Put up his picture full mask. All right, sir. Remember the comment you said, do you want to with a white man? Well, I do. I actually received an alert. I literally changed, keep his picture up. I literally changed my show format today. After speaking with the kids at John Lewis Academy, okay, Invictus Academy. These are bright scholars, young black men, young brown men, black and brown coalition in effect, beautiful academic minds. People like you are who they are afraid of. Individuals like you, not physically, not giving them opportunity that they deserve, discriminating against them when they should have fair opportunities. So here's what we're going to do. Since you decided to accost this FedEx worker in such a way, we are going to make you famous because you said you didn't care about this being posted. We appreciate the permission there. According to my friend at ATL Uncensored, who runs that remarkable site of news in Atlanta, he alerted me today to this. He said, you may want to check this out, Doc. And we did. This happened in Douglasville, Georgia, according to the report. Douglasville is within the metropolitan area of Atlanta. It is not very far from the A. So you don't have to go far from Atlanta to experience a person like him. Sharon, thoughts here?
Just a quick one, monetization. Because you would probably tell me, Dr. Richie, that the person who recorded it owns the copyright to the video. And so I do hope they make a lot of money off of it. Just share it everywhere. He is famous, but the black men should make money off of this.
Yeah, and here's the reality. I'm sure this guy probably has a job where he has so-called black friends or black people work for him, or maybe he even has associates who are African-American. Sir, you said the N-word multiple times to a guy who's literally in your neighborhood working. He's a guy working in your community. That's what he's doing, all right? Your privilege is out of control. You need to check it. You're too damn old for that kind of behavior. And I'm sure somebody will notice who you are and hopefully do an intervention. All right, we have an update to an exclusive. Remember, the young lady who was disabled and testing through an electronic system, right? A video system. Well, they disqualified her. They said, oh, no, you failed. You know more. She said, okay, well, I appeal. No, nothing. She said, okay, well, at least give me my money back. No refunds. Well, after Indisputable covered it, she has now been refunded by the financial aid department of that institution. Let me remind you of what happened. Here's the video.
You can see my camera does not pick up certain things, and if I was just sitting back and I was typing, it's gonna seem like I'm on another device, even though I'm on a wireless keyboard. So you can see that. Also, my camera, it doesn't rotate past there. For me to look down, I'll hold it up higher because this can't catch it. I have to look down to type, so people automatically assume that because I'm looking down, I'm cheating. Or if I hold it like this and I'm typing, that I have to be cheating. It's so wrong and disrespectful on so many levels. And the email that I got from Timothy CV saying you were cheating, it's just like, you're an educated grown man. How hard is it to ask this question? How hard is it for you to ask me to provide documentation? It seemed like it was easier to dismiss me from the program than it was to ask a question of commonality or common sense.
She now has been refunded after our exclusive reporting and after they said she gets nothing. Now here's why the story is important. Remember, when we first brought this to you, I made it very clear. You cannot talk about diversity and inclusion and not talk about the Americans with Disabilities Act. You cannot talk about diversity and inclusion without discussing the reality of institutions who receive federal dollars and federal benefits programs, such as financial aid. Now talking about all demographics and how they should be included in the overall plan of the institution. So let me give you some background. Let's put up the family full mass here. I'm very glad that at least there's some level of remedy established. A disabled honors student studying to be a cardiac electrophysiologist was failed in several classes and dismissed from a program for allegedly cheating. As she appealed the decision, she was stuck in classes she could not access online, receiving zeros for assignments she could not take. So we contacted the school again. Now the school has responded. Here's the demonstration video, you just saw. And here's the family, 38-year-old Jahan Bojat. Bojat's story was featured last week. You'll remember she too is dealing with ovarian cancer. She has an ovarian cancer diagnosis while her mother is suffering from kidney failure. You have a lot going on here with one person. And in addition to that, she is trying to better herself, enhance her career by going back to school. She contacted professors at the school again yesterday. She says, hello, I have had zero update for a week. I would like to know what is happening with my grades. I was graded punitively prior to my grievance. I'm not registered in this semester, and I'm still being graded as if I am registered. All right, Bajat's professors were grading her without her being able to access the course. So let me tell you what happened, all right? Basically, when they claimed, well, obviously you're cheating, so we're dismissing you from the class. You're gonna get an F for the course. She appeals it and registers for class online while the appeal is going. And they say, no, you can't take any more classes online because you're a cheater. And you have to take these classes on the campus. Well, she can't, she's not able to do that. They kept her registered anyway and decided to just give her a failing grade. Now this is silly. All right, I'm talking to the damn professors. Silly. Why would you do this to a student? You have authority of that classroom. I don't give a damn what the president or your dean tells you. It's under the guidelines of the Association of American University Professors. I happen to be a member there. You have control over their classroom. So I don't care what may come out of this based on somebody giving you a directive. At the end of the day, professors, you are responsible for how you treat your children. All right, or your students. Now, this all started, all right, let me give you this guy. Let's put up his picture. The cheating accusation started when Professor Ryan Allen accused her after she finished her finals, all right? That's Ryan Allen. Now remember, we're talking about finals. This means she studied, was equipped, prepared. Also a program director, Allen initially received Miss Bojat's request for ADA accommodation and even oversaw the claim into her alleged academic dishonesty. Bojat alleges she was denied an opportunity to present her side before being dismissed, that she used a keyboard and a text-to-speech software during her test. She said, and I quote, "I'm flabbergasted. They continued to throw me under the bus after I told Ryan Allen about my ADA accommodation." Now remember, ADA accommodations are strong on all university campuses that receive some type of federal money. You have to maintain compliance with the ADA standard in order to maintain your federal money. So it is significantly against the self-interest of the institution. I'm talking to the Board of Trustees. It is significantly against the self-interest of your institution to have leadership who ignores a federal mandate. You could be in danger of being unaccredited or having financial aid significantly reduced or taken away, period. All right, let's go to the letter. So her letter of dismissal from the program did not disclose the software she was using was part of the accommodation she requested under the Americans with Disabilities Act. They left that part completely off. All right, Bajat says no one from the university responded regarding her request for accommodation, nor were any guidelines regarding her use of text-to-speech aids set out in the student handbook. After her dismissal, she appealed the hearing. She says the accusation has cost her about $42,000 in tuition and impacted her future income, career, financial aid, and letting my mother know I graduated before she passed away. Let's go to the president of Loma Linda University, Richard H. Hart. All right, buck is supposed to stop with this fella, but truly the buck stops with the board of trustees. And so here's what I'm asking. I'm going to bypass this fella because obviously he was not, or his leadership team was not responsive according to the narrative here. And I would like to say something directly to the board of trustees. You all have a plethora of experts, academics, community people, part of that board. Somebody there has had this kind of experience or an experience in the family. Let's do the right thing here. Create a new policy, check the leadership, maybe even send somebody a pink slip.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more with everything you said. Ryan Allen has a dark heart based on everything Indisputable has learned about this story. Ryan Allen has a dark heart. And I think I've said this, Dr. Ritchie, on this program before, that my father, both my parents, educators. My father, principal for his whole career. He moved up the ranks. He would drive to students' homes if he sensed something else was going on, if he sensed that they needed something, or if he just, wanted to learn every name and get to know children, in this case, adult students who just want to get a higher education. I do not understand going out of your way to mistreat someone. There's that thing where you want to just be seen. They didn't just mistreat her. This Ryan Allen and perhaps cohorts wanted to just send her away. We don't want to look at you. We don't want you part of this program, okay? And I just think that it is unacceptable, absolutely unacceptable. And if the board of trustees knows what I know about what this show can do, and the esteemed host, Dr. Ritchie, can do, they better get it all the way together, all the way together. Much more Indisputable. Dr. Ritchie returns when we come right back.
Do all of you know the Young Turks?
An outlet like yourself that are willing to cover this story from the very beginning.
You have the Young Turks and a bunch of other progressive forces saying this is the time to fight for our values.
And I think right now there are a lot of progressive voters, many leftists who feel like they don't have a home.
And this is why what Cenk and the Young Turks are doing is so important.
What we've done is sustainable, slow, healthy growth. And I think that's the way news should be, where you don't rely on sensationalist stuff. You don't lean on whatever's trendy in the news at any given moment. You just go with the truth.
You gave me a platform.
You've uplifted so many other progressive voices through this network, and you're constantly looking for people that you can amplify through the work we do, through the infrastructure that you built at TYT.
It takes those early people who believe that can really be the seeds of this movement, and that has been the Young Turks.
We're super serious about the news. We also managed to do it in a way that is fun and lighthearted. We're not TYT, you're TYT.
Welcome to the Damage Report. I'm John Idarola. This is gonna be a big one.
Meanwhile, in the Arctic, you know where this is going. You watch the Damage Report, the Arctic's on fire. Obviously, why would we be talking about the Arctic except to tell you that it's melting once again? The Republicans aren't that interested in it. I wonder why. Lift out of poverty up to 3.7 million people, including an estimated 1.3 million children. Hashtag save the children? Not if it costs money. I mean, come on.
Welcome to Indisputable. I'm your host, Dr. Rashad Richard. We got a lot happening today. But what do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable.
Rashad, great to be here. Congratulations on the new show. And I got to let everybody know that Rashad and I go way back.
Here's the pattern that we see in all of these Karen stories. They think they own stuff they do not own. Now, where does that come from? I don't know. Maybe slavery. Maybe they think they should still own black people.
This is what happens when Karens weaponize the police.
When you're used to privilege, equality seems like oppression.
It hits you in a certain way when someone is holding you against your will, treating you like you're a criminal and you're an innocent person. This is something that black people face no matter where they are.
A stronger black economy lends itself to a stronger, greater economy. Don't think it's exclusive of you, it's inclusive of you.
What's your beef with critical race theory?
It adds more fuel to the fire of the racist tendencies that we already have.
We have a generation of problem solvers that can remedy the problem if they are properly taught what the problem is.
You know who created redlining in this country? It was a white liberal.
I don't give a damn who created it. If it's a racist policy, Shelley, here's what I don't know. I don't know. See, there you go filibustering, brother. You're scared of this truth, but you're gonna get it though.
I'm back to gaslighting. Did you and I talk about gaslighting on Old School?
Probably.
That boss gaslit all his female employees. People who manipulate others like that make you feel like you're the weirdo. Why won't you punch yourself in the face? What is wrong with you? And you're like, oh my God, I feel so bad. Why didn't I just punch myself in the face and poke my eye out? I'm 47 and I just figured it out like earlier this year.
You figured out somebody was doing it to you or that you were
that it
doing
was that it would have been happening my whole life and I didn't realize it.
Right.
Welcome back to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey. I'm Sharon Reed, just guest co-hosting with the good doctor today. Let's spin the wheel, shall we? Should tell you about this. TYT, we pride ourselves, of course, on sharing the most important news stories of the day with our audience, unfiltered, which is key, right? You want it unfiltered. You can make up your own mind, unspoiled by corporate influence, free of traditional media propaganda. And that means telling the truth, the good, the bad. That's about both parties, folks, without fear, favor, concern for which powerful interests we might be offending. Right now, when you sign up for an annual membership, you will get to spin that wheel to win limited time perks from TYT. One of those prizes, drum roll please. Well, we don't have a drum roll, but I'll just tell you what it is. It's a Canvas 2024 T, and I think I like that. You can check it out. You sign up, tyt.com, spin or scan the QR code to get started. John Eodoros. Okay, I apologize. 11th anniversary TYT is coming up. Dr. Richey says it better. He'll get me together. Celebrating our favorite fire-breathing Dragon Daddy, Old School, Monday, January 23rd. We're gonna drop exclusive Dragon Squad merch from Shop TYT during the live show. Members have exclusive access, first dibs on the newest Dragon Squad collection. If you're a member already, thank you. You make Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Richey possible. And every other TYT installment. If you're not a member yet, join us now at tyt.com/join to become part of our Dragon Squad. Join John, tune in 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific for a special Old School. John Old School, don't miss it, 11th anniversary. Now let's get you some viewer comments as Dr. Richey is getting back in the chair and the technical difficulties are getting worked out. I can see him, you will see him soon as well. Here's what you have to say. start with our TYT member about the Trump excuse. Remember, Donald Trump now says that there were no real documents in there. These are just empty envelopes that I wanted as a keepsake that said classified on them. Well, Kyle CH says, with all due respect, Dr. Ritchie, fact checking Dr. Ritchie on this one. And he's saying that you were wrong, that Mr. Trump's lawyers are going to get paid. Trump is notorious for not paying his bills. See, I knew there was a little catch to it because there you are, Dr. Ritchie. I thought he was
hold on, wait a minute. No, let me tell you something. Let me tell you why I know I'm not wrong. I actually know one of Trump's lawyers, ironically, Drew Finley, who is his attorney in Georgia for the elections issue. So I've known Drew for a while. I was really surprised he took this case, but I also know that Drew got his money up front.
Oh, that's what I hear they're doing.
So right, so basically, Trump is so notorious for not paying. They make him prepay his legal services, and he works his hours down.
Wow, it's like you got to put the big deposit down at the utility company because you did not pay the last resident.
That's it.
It's something like that.
Credit busted. That's right. It's credit busted.
Wow, that's it. Wow, you want to keep going with the comments, Dr. Ritchie, or what do you want to do next?
No, go ahead. You finish it up, and we'll.
Okay, well, another exclusive, your exclusive, Mickey C, the silver haired dragon is commenting on this one. A lot of people are very angry about this one, and Mickey C's among them. She was not just a student, she was an honors student.
That's right.
And she didn't get that far by being a cheater. And it's actually ridiculous. One more we'll give you, YouTube, thank you. Dystopian Dragon for the contribution. Donald Trump has the right to remain silent, but not the ability to shut up. I agree with that.
Well said. All right, we got more on the other side. We're gonna take a quick break. We got more Indisputable. Stick and stay. What's happening? I'm Rashad Ritchie, host of Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie right here on TYT. Let me tell you what we do on Indisputable. We go beyond the headline. We make sure that you know the full context of the story. And we also highlight issues that are important to the everyday person. We're talking about criminal justice reform. We're talking about the climate. We're talking about what's happening right in your local community. We also highlight very important issues that are affecting all of us, like the economy, jobs, and we engage in transparent debates with people who may not think like me. We're living in a current social atmosphere where opinions are represented as facts and lies are represented as truth. Make sure you tune in to Indisputable with Dr. Rashad Ritchie, Monday through Friday, 2:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 11:30 a.m. Pacific Time.
Hi, I'm John, and I'm new to TikTok, but about 3 years ago, I started my daily political news show, The Damage Report, because I noticed this trend where every morning I was waking up to this tsunami of news that was just generally dreadful and horrifying and shocking, and I thought that if I could spend my time helping people to navigate this, serving as a bit of a life raft, pointing out which news is important and why, there are worse ways to spend your day. We're not an average news show, and we don't want our TikTok presence to be average either, so feel free to let us know what you'd like us to do on the platform, and maybe give us a follow at The Damage Report.
All right, Amazon Prime members, here's how you can subscribe for free on Twitch. Start by linking your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch account, and then click that little subscribe or resubscribe button below the stream on Twitch. Scroll down and select the subscribe free with Prime button, and then you're finished. Close out immediately and share your little subscription alert with the chat. Send a cute message along with it, and bathe in the sweet, twitchy Bezos-funded love. Hashtag Bezos Bucks.
All right, welcome back. We have a lot of show left. I got something for you. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish you Karen would.
You want to call the police on them for having a barbecue on a Sunday.
I feel free! Back off!
I'm going to tell them there's an African-American man threatening my life. Back behind me. Get behind me. It's okay. Get back over by the register. Oh, now, yeah. Oh, putting it. That's okay. I got this. God. Okay, I got it on video. Okay.
I paid for that. That was like $50. You're gonna be. You this way. What comes around goes around. You all want piece of. Never gave up those things that I paid for.
You okay? Go back over there.
They took a lot of money from us.
You back?
You hit me and moved. I don't want to punch you. You hit me.
No.
They took $100 from us.
Go ahead and leave, baby.
It won't refund it.
Go.
You wouldn't like it.
Savages. All right, let's do this. Let's put the picture up full mass here. Really interesting saga. Don't have many details. The poster of the video said that the Karen was in the wrong and the employees tried to help her way before it got out of hand. This is the reality of many individuals who walk around with a level of privilege that says, if I feel slighted, I will start to do criminal activity. And do you not find it somewhat ironic that out of all of what happened, nobody said, let's call the police and get the police here? Because remember, when you call the police, you are calling a gun to the situation. With all of that chaos and activity and criminality, nobody thought a gun was necessary. All right, Sharon, thoughts here. You're on mute.
Apologize for that. I had some colorful language as I was watching that, Dr. Richie. But I got to tell you, where do you start with this kind of thing? You know, I don't know why you just can't have a decent day without this kind of behavior erupting and then escalating. It's just it makes me sad. It actually makes me sad sometimes to know that this is what's out there.
Yeah, it really does. And please, if you know that person, to anyone who may know her, intervention time is necessary. Karen, this runs deep there. All right, Dr. King celebrations always bring out groups of Karens who actually say we support Dr. King while they do not. As a matter of fact, one group we've covered called Moms for Liberty. Moms for Liberty, they would like Dr. King's book banned. They don't want students to learn about him. They think it's too controversial. It's part of the critical race theory agenda. And then they had this to post on Dr. King's birthday. Here it is. All right, so they are honoring Dr. King. During this year's Martin Luther King Day, the conservative group Moms for Liberty posted this tribute to MLK on Instagram, honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., Martin Luther King Jr. Day, Moms for Liberty. Well, that is an about face to the sentiment you expressed earlier when we covered you. According to Salon.com, the Williamson County, Tennessee chapter of the group Moms for Liberty filed an 11-page complaint. These Karens had enough time to write 11 damn pages, with the state claiming that a second grade curriculum, which includes works about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., has a heavily biased agenda. You're damn right it does. It's biased against racist people. Correct. That would make kids hate their country, each other, and or themselves. Well, unless you believe that racist white people are America, unless you believe that, then this is contrary to the truth. Unless you believe that an education of the facts, the historical fact, that racist individuals once engaged in systemic racism, cultural racism, statutory racism, all of it. If you're saying that that is America, okay. But I thought America wasn't racist. So if we're talking about some racist people in America, that's not America according to you all. Because when someone says America is racist, you say, no. America has racist people, but America's not racist. So what's the problem here? We're talking about racist people, right? All right, there's more. Inside the complaint, Moms for Liberty, they take swift issue. They take a lot of issue with the books in a school's offered curriculum, including Francis Ruffin's Martin Luther King Jr. and the March on Washington. All right, March on Washington, controversial. And the autobiographical Ruby Bridges Goes to School. Too controversial for this group. My True Story, the complaint also cites photographs of white firemen blasting black children to the point of bruising their bodies and ripping off their clothes. That's what happened, madam. Let's put up a picture of this individual. She is the chief Karen among them all. The signed complaint was delivered by the local group's chairperson, Robin Steenman, who was called an Air Force veteran and white mother of 3 by a publication. Despite what conservatives claim about MLK Day, he was not well liked during the time he was alive. So while these particular individuals are now saying that, hey, on King Day, we can post support King on his holiday, but not support his policies, be antithetical to his books. You don't want children to learn about him. This doesn't make sense, doesn't add up. Well, guess what? During his era of living, same dynamics applied. During the 1960s, Dr. King was not well liked. He was considered a very divisive figure. The last Gallup poll to ask about his popularity during his lifetime was taken in 1966. They found his unfavorable rating was 63%. Now remember, this was a man dedicated to nonviolent peaceful protests to effect actual change in the construct of America. Nonviolent peaceful protest. And his unfavorability rating was close to people who did not care about having a nonviolent approach. Do you understand how divisive he was interpreted? All right, it was insane and extreme. Okay, perhaps even more revealing is that a lot of white Americans thought King was doing more harm than good for the fight for civil rights. In a 1966 Harris poll, 50% of white Americans indicated that he was hurting the civil rights effort. A mere 36% said he was helping. King's favorable rating among them was 27% in 1966. Even in the immediate aftermath of his death, many Americans had negative views of King. Nearly 31% said he brought his 1968 assassination upon himself. Less than a majority, 43%, said they were sad. 38% said sad or angry, 5%. It gives you an idea of not only in his philosophy and his leadership was he hated by many, actually by the majority. Even in his death, he was celebrated for dying, not for leading, by many of these same kinds of individuals who will say one thing that may make sense, but then actually behave in a way that's adversarial to the progress of black people. This is not something to play with. The reason why they do not want children to learn about Dr. King is because Dr. King himself teaches a lesson. You see, he is the teacher. You learn about Dr. King, you learn about what Dr. King taught. And so they don't want that. They rather do a post to say Happy King Day and completely oppose his agenda, completely oppose his policy positions. You see, they rather give you a statue of King than give you a statute based on King. That's the game. Democrats and Republicans play that game. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
Well, you're right, it is nothing to play with. And it strikes me that Dr. King worked on behalf of all, but he was a truth teller. He was a truth teller. And so you're right, the message of love, equality, justice, inescapable. If you're gonna learn about Dr. King, it's an inescapable message that comes with it, Dr. Ritchie. This group and their 11-page complaint, I don't know if it was double-spaced? Was it double-spaced? I don't know what it said. And I don't know if we can get the time back. I don't want you to look it up. I know you got a crack staff. Please don't read the dissertation. I don't understand how you have so much time and energy for this kind of rhetoric and lies.
Yeah, and listen, Trump is about to choose perhaps the #1 national Karen, which is Marjorie Taylor Greene, to be his vice presidential running mate. This is going to get even more interesting than it currently is. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay.
Our audience has given us everything, so we couldn't be more connected. When we first started, people would start giving us directions and say, okay, the mics are too large, move them. Turn them into lav mics. I mean, they were incredible. And then one guy walked in and gave us a really expensive switcher and said, you guys need this, and walked out. Okay, it's amazing. They helped us build a studio. They did a $2 million funding campaign for us. And so they really are us. We do this show together to the point where some of our hosts are even former listeners. So when we say that the audience is part of TYT, we really mean it.
I think what the audience also appreciates is especially if they're members, they really get an inside look into who we are, our personal lives, what drives and motivates us. It goes beyond just storytelling. I think that what we do is allow our viewers and our listeners into our daily lives, and we give them kind of like this inside look into everything that we're passionate about and why it is that we're doing what we're doing, right? Like the motivation behind what we're doing, I think is important for our audience to know, and we're not shy about sharing that with them. And it's different from what people typically see in legacy media outlets where everything is kind of dry and robotic and there's really no personality or authenticity that comes along with it. Oftentimes when we're doing the show, I don't really think of it as me telling them stories. I think of it as us having a mutual respect and conversation with one another. And as I said earlier, I mean, not only do I feel that through the work I do, I'm informing our audience, but they inform me oftentimes as well. You know, they'll pitch stories to us. They'll tell us, you know, a certain perspective or angle to a story that we might have missed. And I love it.
Universal health care, raising the minimum wage, doing something about climate change and gun violence and an unjust justice system that locks up black and brown folks. We're not going for the okie doke no more.
I think Nina Turner is the leader of the progressive movement right now.
It is absolutely a sin and a shame to be in the 21st century in America and having people who are elected to office not only try to separate us, but also use public policy to make it harder to vote.
The questions that we get asked is how you gonna pay for it? I said, oh, we gonna pay for it the same way we pay for the tax cuts. That's how we gonna pay for it. We gonna pay for it in the same way that we give military industrial complex contractors. That's how we gonna pay for it.
If standing up for a universal health care or Medicare for all is wrong, Jink, I don't want to be right. If believing that working people deserve to have paid family and medical leave is wrong, I don't want to be right. If wanting everyday people of this nation to live a good life is wrong, then I don't want to be right.
And we are being tested whether we have courage enough, conviction enough, people power enough to stand up and do what is right for ourselves and generations yet unborn.
I'm Nina Turner, and I am unbought and unbossed.
Hi, I'm Bartholomew Joseph Kyle. I do audio for the main show, The Young Turks. I also do audio for Post Game. I started in 2006. I met Cenk Uygur at the Iraq for Sale screening that was directed by Robert Greenwald. And watching that, I want to figure out a way to be part of something that's genuine and authentic.
All right, welcome back. We have a lot of show left. Thank you for the comments. I will read as many as I can, kind of press for time. Sina Hogaboom says, I wish these people would stop pimping MLK. Damn right. But you got to remember, of course they would do that to MLK. Hell, they do it to Jesus. They do it to God. They do it to the Bible. They do it to the Constitution. It doesn't matter. Whatever document, whatever historical figure, they will do it to if it is opposed to their particular agenda. All right. Spin me a sailcloth. We thank you for that. Dr. Ritchie, though their behavior is heinous and despicable, why do you call the Karens savages? This is the same language colonizers used to dehumanize Native Americans and doesn't need to be used like this. Much love. I definitely understand your sentiment. That's the reason I do it, actually. I do it because that's my remedy for them, to create an atmosphere where they now have to be in the hot water. They get othered. I know a lot of people don't like that methodology. It is mine and I stand by it. But I intentionally utilize that terminology in order for them to understand how it feels, okay? All right. Member 1 month, we appreciate that. Humanoid Dragon says, appreciate you and all your hard work, Doc. You're fighting the good fight, thank you, sir. Well, we're fighting the good fight, all right? Without you, there is no me. Iron sharp as iron. And remember, for 7 months, Forbeszilla, Godzilla Dragon. Thank you so much for that. Doc, you're looking quite spiffy today. Much love getting sent your way from the chat. No one can say, I wish a Karen would quite like you. Well, I appreciate that as well. All right, very sad story. So an aunt calls out the family of her nephew's racist bullies. And this is a hell of a saga. Let me take you to the first video.
My nephew has been going to Pizitz Middle School for a while now. And we recently found out that while his mom is sending him to school thinking he's getting educated, he's meeting friends, he's having a good time, he is being harassed since August of 2022. Every day he goes to school, there are students that yell racial slurs at him. There are students that call him monkey, that call him the N-word. One in particular, and yes, I am going to talk about the family of this one boy because I believe racism isn't fermented in a bubble. Racism isn't fermented in a void. Parent, you raise your kids to go to school and be actual terrorists to other people. So please come to the front. If you know my nephew, he is so quiet, so calm. It took him so long to say something because he just thought it was gonna die down. He didn't want to make it a big deal. But he went to my sister-in-law in tears saying he could not handle it anymore. And she had to pull him out of the school this week.
There's more video. Here it is.
These are the Boschnick, okay? This is the father, John Boschnick, and the wife, Jane Boschnick. They both are CPAs. One works for Bruno Events in Birmingham, Alabama, and the other one works for Dent Moses LLC. They're also a CPA company. Their son, and I took the kids' faces out. Their son is the one that comes to school every day saying the N-word, calling my nephew monkeys, and getting other kids to join in and calling my nephew names and making his life a living hell. One of my biggest fears with having kids was to raise them in the US. I'm always afraid of how their skin color is gonna make them a target before they even know what it is to not be liked simply because of something they cannot change. No kid is born hating somebody because of their skin color. It's taught behavior. It's the things that we as parents say in our home. It's the biases that we give to them, and they go to school and they perpetuate it and cause trauma to other kids. Jane and John, this is on you.
The family is speaking up to protect not only this young soul, but to protect his dignity, his self-esteem, his belief that he can still achieve and do whatever he wants to. Let's put up the picture for a mass. NBC 13 WVTM did a great job covering the story. The child's mother, Mary Beth Ford, also confirmed her son was called a monkey. Her son was called the N-word at Louise Pizzett's Middle School in Alabama. She recounted how her son told her, and I told her saying, my son finally broke and collapsed. He said, I thought I could handle it. I thought it would stop if I stayed quiet. I cannot take it anymore, he said. Mary Beth Ford gave that interview. Ford would eventually pull her son out of the school. On January 10th, the principal, Alicia Hansberger, sent a letter to the middle school parents addressing Ford and her family's concerns about racial intolerance. She addressed the media coverage prompted by Ford's sister-in-law. Some of you have been made aware of recent media coverage regarding our school. I cannot control the media, nor will I comment on any specific student at the institution. Our students and families have a right to privacy. Letter continues. I will tell you that when information is shared with me regarding our students and behavior that is unacceptable, our team addresses the concern immediately and follows the code of conduct outlined by our Board of Education, the principal added. Hansberger said families can be assured that the school will take a thorough approach to responding to student behavior in an effort to discipline with consequence and teaching. Notice what she did here, avoided the entire issue, decided not to address the problematic issue that was highlighted during the media. Said nothing of being an advocate for those who are being bullied inside of that institution. Remember, there's a great disconnect between the campaign to stop bullying, which was led by basically a white male majority on one camp and a white female majority on the other, depending on what the bullying issue was about. But you know what was not allowed in that campaign? No, I mean this. It wasn't allowed, racial bullying. And let me explain that. There was a movement similar in Georgia, anti-bullying campaign. I'm down with that. Federal government, they created grant programs, anti-bullying campaign. If you can prove that your incidence of bullying goes down, then you get federal dollars. That's how the program works basically. Well, what about when somebody's called the N-word? No, that's not bullying. That's a different kind of incident. What do you mean? I'm in the meeting literally asking, what the hell do you mean? That's not bullying. That is the game that they played. So they decided not to affix the campaign of anti-bullying along with that of racial bullying. They wanted that to be separate. There's more to this story. Ford believes that more has to be done for her student, her child, obviously, as we all would. I think for so long, we stayed quiet thinking that an apology is enough, when what we really need from school systems like Vestavia is real and immediate change. And I don't think that would have happened if I left my son there, she said, noting that her family is not alone and has received messages of support from other parents of color. Moving forward, We have to heal at this point, and my goal is to make sure students are not victims of this type of hate speech, Ford said. We see so many students that either consider suicide or some other method to relieve themselves of this. And I'm so thankful that my son spoke up, she said. Ford has now enrolled her son in a new school in Hoover, Alabama. I'm familiar with the area. I go to law school in Alabama, and Hoover, I'm familiar with Hoover. You know, it's a mixed bag of Hoover as well. But obviously that institution was not serving the student, was actually being antithetical to the student's progress, in my opinion. But here's the thing. Until we look at children, all children, as worthy to be protected, to be advocated for, till we start doing that, you will continue to see the permeation of bias and racism beyond the school, into the communities and into our nation. These students deserve our absolute best, our best. They deserve our best, and we give them this. I stand with the family. I know you stand with the family as well. We will continue to update you as it develops, waiting for a conclusive result from the alleged investigation by the school. Sharon, thoughts here.
Well, it's not a real investigation, and the principal, sure, they investigate thoroughly and they stamp out all kinds of issues when they care. They don't care. Okay, you're right. And when I saw this beautiful mother and this sweet face son of hers, and I like to think that I can see who they really are through the picture. And I believe this is a great kid who was trying to protect his mother, his family, and just try to do this heavy lift alone. And can you imagine that? Suicide, the mother talked about. Her little blurb there, her speech, and that of her sister-in-law, the aunt, spoke volumes and was just a beautiful thing to unpack as compared to the principal.
Yeah. And I'm so glad that this young person has love. And I want to say this to you, if you happen to see the segment, your potential is limitless. You can do whatever you choose to do. And hold on to the love that you have inside of that remarkable family of yours, because everybody doesn't have that. And that is something special, all right? I wish you luck. Okay. Damn. A woman tried to kill a man because he urinated in the bed. All right, let's hear the lady out first. All right, put a picture up full mass. What happened here? 25-year-old Brianna Lacoste of Baton Rouge is accused of stabbing a boyfriend after he urinated in their bed following a night of drinking. East Baton Rouge Sheriff's deputies said she is charged with one count of attempted second-degree murder. According to the police report obtained by Fox 5 television stations, deputies responded to a stabbing at a local hospital on January 14th. The victim was in the emergency room after being stabbed on the left side of his torso with a knife. He also had a punctured lung, okay? The victim told authorities that his girlfriend, Lacoste, became extremely enraged for urinating in the bed. The couple said the couple was actually living together for about a year and a half. The report also stated the couple had been out heavily drinking late and were intoxicated. All right, now that's a point here. All right, I'm gonna come back to that point in just a minute. The boyfriend then said Lacoste, his girlfriend, woke him up and started hitting him because he urinated in the bed. He tried to restrain her and then tried to physically get away from her. However, she is the one now charged. She's the one who charged at him, and she's charged with a kitchen knife and stabbed him, according to the documents. During the investigation, Lacoste reportedly told deputies the couple had planned on separating. On the night in question, she admitted she was upset after the boyfriend urinated on himself and ripped him out of bed, leading to the physical altercation. The police report said Lacoste admitted that during the fight, her boyfriend started choking her and she defended herself. She then admitted to stabbing her boyfriend on the left side of his arm and attempted to render medical aid before taking her boyfriend to the hospital. Just highly convoluted here. So we have no camera inside of that home. We don't know exactly how this played out. We do know a few facts that were confirmed by both, is that he did urinate. He does not deny that. They do not deny drinking a lot that night, and the fact that a knife was absolutely used to stab him. Sharon, here's a question. Have you ever been so upset? But listen, first of all, I hate to ask because this assumes you dated a guy that urinates in the bed.
What on earth, Dr. Richie? I don't even know what. I was hoping you were going to say we're short on time. I have something to say about everything, but I don't even understand. Nobody tells a story like you. I'm glad you clarified it because I know there's all types and two consenting adults. Some people are into that. I don't know what went down here, Dr. Richie. Okay, I'm a single mom, and there's nothing going on in here. Okay. I have no reference point for you.
No reference point at all here.
None,
right.
Doctor.
Hey, neither do I. Neither do I. All right.
I'm back on mute for this.
All right. So we'll follow it. Obviously, it's still ongoing. They have not concluded that he has no fault, but as it stands now, she is the one arrested. All right. We got more on the other side. It's indisputable. Stick and stay. Indisputable has been named the fastest growing news TV show in the United States of America, compared to all shows on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and roughly 30 others. What do we do on this show? We tell the truth. You know why we tell the truth? Because the truth is simply indisputable. Donald Trump radicalized citizens. He's the chief terrorist. Republicans still want you to think that critical race theory is the greatest evil that can happen in K through 12 education. It's not even taught. I guarantee you this, David. If he would have taken a knee during the national anthem to bring awareness to the need for more money for cancer research in America, he would not have had that response. It was the fact that he took a knee for black folk and brown folk. You rather pick the voters because you're scared of the voters picking the politicians. It frightens you. But we coming. When you are in a privileged position, equality looks like oppression to you. The Karenicity runs deep in this one. We provide a mirror for reflection and a mirror for correction. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Let's put up the graphic of this Karen in peak performance. Boom. They want anarchy so they can start creating their own rules.
Can you share with me some examples?
When they were running around during the terrorist attack on January 6th saying, hang Mike Pence. So those are the people I'm talking about. That's a problem, correct? You work for Mike Pence, stand up for the guy. Do not allow the ideology of politics to evaporate the humanity that still exists inside of you. They don't stop, I don't stop. Racism won't stop, I won't stop. Systemic bias won't stop, so I won't stop. People still need health care, so I won't stop. People still need criminal justice systems reformed in this country, so I won't stop. And you won't stop either.
Hello, beloveds. I have a big announcement. I'm launching a new daily 1-hour show with the Young Turks called Unbossed with Nina Turner, starting October 17th. We are going to be taking on corruption in all of its forms, whether it's big money, big pharma, the injustice system, the establishment of both parties. All that we love is on the line. They keep coming for the people, not serving the people. Now we're coming for them. Anytime anyone, anywhere tries to take power from the people, that is where we will be together on Unbossed. And not only are we gonna take on these people, we're also gonna have a little joy while we fight. What is life without having some joy? The channel's already up, so go subscribe now, yes, right now at youtube.com/unbossed, TYT.
Field goal here. It's time to switch to beauty.
Oh, man.
Oh, God. Do your best.
He's a little like
Oh. No one's happy now.
Give him another try.
Oh. Wow.
This is the weirdest game. We've been around for about 20 years and we have about 20 billion views. Am I proud of that? Hell yeah, I am. We put out 20 billion messages in a bottle. Have we helped to move now 2 generations, millennials and Gen Z, to become progressive? Yes, those numbers are real. We moved generations. Were we the only ones? Of course not. But we have been the largest online news show for now decades.
Welcome back. We have a lot of show left. Let me read some of these comments. I'm kind of pressed for time. We'll keep it quick. All Jam says, damn, she called them all out, as she should. She's right that this kind of persistent racism didn't come out of nowhere. That family regularly disparages black people. Correct, yeah, nobody's born racist, okay, nobody. Stop Dragon says, Charlie, if you wet the bed one more time, I'm going to stab you. All right. Stop Dragon says, Sharon just broke me up. I'm still laughing. All right, yeah, Sharon is funny. Okay. One of the saddest damn stories you will ever hear, and it was likely preventable. A father slays his entire family, children and all. But he was under investigation, child abuse, and the authorities decided not to charge him. Let's highlight this very sad story. 42-year-old Michael Hyatt, the Utah man who fatally shot his wife, mother-in-law, and all 5 kids before taking his own life. He had been investigated 2 years prior for abusing children. But new records released Tuesday show that the local police and the local prosecutors both decided not to criminally charge him. Let me give you details of the abuse investigation. In 2020, there was an interview with authorities. Macy Hyatt, the family's eldest daughter, detailed multiple assaults, including one where she was choked by her father and very afraid that he was going to keep her from breathing and kill her. That's in the official interview. She said that about her father while he was under investigation for abusing children. You don't get clearer than that. There's more. The child abuse investigation followed an August 27, 2020 police call from a person who was not a family member, but reported potential child abuse. Macy, then 14, told investigators that her father's violence actually started in 2017 and had included choking and shaking, including a recent episode in which he grabbed her by the shoulders and banged her into a wooden piece along the back of the couch. All of this is part of the record. In his interview with investigators, Mr. Hyatt denied assaulting his daughter and said the report was a misunderstanding. He said Macy was mouthy and admitted to getting angry, attributing some struggles to his father's death and brother's divorce. Woe is me, he says. I'm just going through a tough time here. Who believed him? Well, the powers that be. The powers that be said, you know what, fella? We understand what you're going through. The investigation also shed light into the treatment of his own wife. Macy told investigators that her father would often belittle her mother, Tasha Hyatt, a charge he denied. In his interview, however, Michael Hyatt said he had taken his wife's iPad and cell phone to surveil her text messages, to check if she had spoken negatively about his family. Still, no red flags by law enforcement. Let's put up the couple. Tasha didn't want criminal charges filed against her husband and hoped the investigation would be a wake-up call for him. Though an investigator told Michael his behavior was close to assaultive, the Enoch police and the Iron County attorney decided not to file criminal charges. The investigation concluded the case didn't meet the requirements for prosecution because of insufficient evidence. However, prosecutors weren't sent interview transcripts or police reports to review. So let's go ahead and highlight what really happened. They knew good and damn well, talking about the police and the prosecutors, they knew good and damn well this interview existed. And in order to back the play, the police did not send the transcripts officially to the prosecutor's office. Now, you may say, Doc, how do you know that? Because in the normative process, you include the prosecutor when the interview starts. That's how this works in most jurisdictions in the United States of America. And then there's an automated process because of the rules governing abuse to minors. The second dynamic, in other words, they did not simply miss one policy. They did not simply miss two. They missed multiple mandated policies as it relates to what should have happened with this information. Put them up. Two years later, all of those family members, including those precious children, were dead. 2 years later. The police believe Michael carried out the shootings 2 weeks after his wife had filed for divorce. Just days after, her relatives say he took guns from the house that could have been used to stop him. Meanwhile, the obituary published in the St. George Spectrum, this was last week, described Michael in a glowing tribute as an Eagle Scout, a businessman and father who made it a point to spend quality time with each and every one of his children. That's what the obit said. The obit made no mention that he killed all of them. The piece, which was not written by newspaper staff, came from the Southern Utah mortuary, which declined to discuss with NBC News what involvement the mortuary had in writing the obituary. So let me do this. Those children should be alive. The wife should be alive. Hell, he could be alive if he was in jail. They all had a conclusive story. The man is abusive. The man is abusive in an intense and consistent way. And all of the law enforcement, after interviewing him, getting all the information on record, all law enforcement said, just go home and work this out. All right? Now, what happened? Was it his privilege? The fact that he's a white male? What? Because I guarantee you, if a black male has the same accusations against him on record, this does not happen. He gets arrested. There's a problem with privilege that permeates beyond simply how people treat black and brown folk. Because see, in this case, that privilege, that acceptance of a ridiculous narrative, a ridiculous defense in the face of all of these allegations, that privilege being accepted by law enforcement likely was the catalyst why this family could not get the protection they deserved. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
It's unconscionable, and I think you're exactly right. That's what bias means. As you said, it's not just against black and brown people. They couldn't get past that picture, that familial picture, that slice of Americana. So they gave him the benefit of the doubt. They said, we feel sorry for you. One mistake shouldn't ruin your life. It wasn't one, it was many. It was the way he lived, a controlling man who was troubled and conflicted. And at the end of the day, despite that glowing obituary that talked about quality, I think I heard you say the word quality, Dr. Ritchie.
Yeah,
but he didn't respect their quality of life, okay? The last minutes he spent with them, killing the entire family. It's traumatizing.
Yeah, all right, very sad story. Okay, 9-year-old dies in government custody. Father wants answers, diabetic 9-year-old. Let's put his picture up, full mass here. This is in Arizona. An Arizona single father named Richard Blodgett is demanding to know what happened to his son, his 9-year-old son. His name is Jacob. Jacob died in state custody while the dad was in jail on a drug possession charge. Let me give you some background to this and what happened. Jacob and his father had been living in a motel when Blodgett was arrested in December. Mr. Blodgett, who already had a drug case pending and has spent time in prison, said was operating a backhoe much of the day and pulled over at a gas station to take a nap, said the report. Officers wrote that they suspected got it off as a result of drug use. Authorities ultimately found more than 4,000 fentanyl pills in his possession. Blodgett was jailed and charged with 1 count of drug possession. Navajo County Superior Court documents show. He told the AP he had been using fentanyl for pain management after he dropped 300 pounds with weight loss surgery. I wasn't getting high. I wasn't abusing them. I was using them to be able to work and provide for my son. After 2 weeks in state custody, however, his son passed away. A medical examiner listed Jacob's death in late December as natural, with complications from diabetes, a condition he was diagnosed with as a toddler, specifically type 1 diabetes, which means his body was unable to produce enough insulin to survive. Blodgett said he suspects the Arizona Department of Child Safety failed in its duty to protect his son, either by not monitoring his blood sugar levels or not ensuring that Jacob had enough insulin to prevent a serious life-threatening complication known as ketoacidosis, according to the report. Blodgett claims he only ever used the drugs that landed him in prison to self-medicate his pain. Obviously, his proclamation of this is quite normative within the context of particular illnesses, pains, and even mental health, self-medication. Not abnormal, happens a lot. We do know that whatever he was doing, his son didn't die, and his son was taken care of, according to the narrative we have, until the state stepped in. Arizona officials are not commenting, refusing to comment on the death, but it is part of a pattern per the report. In the fiscal year that ended last June, about 26 children, count that, 26 children died while in the agency's custody, including from overdoses, medical conditions, natural and still undetermined causes. In the previous fiscal year, that number was actually 14. The figures amount to a fatality rate of about 97 per 100,000 children during that period, almost double the rate for children in the general population of Arizona. Let's put up the director here, okay? Mike Faust, the director of the Arizona Department of Child Safety since 2019, was replaced last month by Matthew Stewart on the right. Stewart, who previously worked at DCS, has stepped away from his job at DCS after learning of racial disparities impacting Black families back in 2018. Now he's back to lead the agency. In 2022, the former director, Mike Faust, had to answer to lawmakers after countless reports of violence and drug use at foster homes owned by North Star Independent Living Services were ignored. It led to a teenage resident being shot and killed inside of one of those homes. So this story hits home for me because I was a foster kid myself. And I know about some of the cultural aspects of that kind of systemic service. It's not nice, it's not easy, it's not a fun place to be. It's cold, it's lonely, sometimes unforgiving in some ways. But this is even more extreme than the regular extremes that exist in foster systems, because they had a death rate rising at a level unprecedented year to year. And now they have a latest one. All right, Sharon, thoughts?
I think they took their perception, their perceived sins of the father out on the son. I don't think they cared anything about this child. And you said 26 kids dead, fiscal year ending. Shouldn't the Fed step in, Dr. Ritchie? There's an intervention, a massive one that's necessary.
Yeah, I agree 100%. All right, we'll stay with the story. I'm sure there are more developments that will come this year. Sharon, always a pleasure having you on the program. Tell people how they can follow you, check out your great work.
At Sharon Reed Live, you can catch me across all social platforms, also Rebel HQ. I'll post another video, hopefully today, if not tomorrow, and I hope you'll check it out.
Awesome, I love your Rebel HQ videos. Keep them coming, we appreciate that. All right, remember, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of the planet. Remember, the truth is always indisputable.